Well, hey there, real estate fans. Alice Lema here, broker John L. Scott in beautiful Southern Oregon, with another edition of the weekly podcast. Today, we're going to talk about the shocking realization that, at least in Southern Oregon, we still have a housing shortage. Even though sales are down and rates are up, there's still a shortage of houses to buy. Isn't that something? We're going to talk about it. So before we get to that, I want to give you a quick second to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, send it to your friends and family. If you want to talk to me personally, privately, there's the number up there somewhere. 541-301-7980. Now on to the podcast. How can there be a housing shortage still when sales are down and rates are so high? Well, it's very interesting and the data doesn't lie. And that's what we do. We go back to the data every time. So Jackson County right now is averaging 3 months of inventory. That means if there were no listings taken in Jackson County forever from now on, it would be 90 days or so the houses would all sell. So the interesting thing is that that is longer than it was this time last year, but it's still not long enough. And what do I mean by that? Got to remind you, a normal neutral market is 4 to 6 months, 120 days to 180 days. That means the buyers are not in charge, the sellers are not in charge. So if it's shorter than 4 to 6 months time, that's still a seller's market. In Jackson County, at least, is at 3 months now. Josephine County is at 4 months. So Josephine County has 4 months of inventory as of July. And it's just remarkable, though, that that's still not enough. We are normalizing. The market is settling down, even though we had that Federal Reserve report yesterday saying that the rates are going to go up again. We still need more houses to sell. So this creates a very interesting and surprising opportunity that we were not 100% prepared for, but here we go. So on the seller side, you can still sell your house. In fact, because there's still a shortage, if you have what we jokingly call a cream puff house, that's the perfect everything, then you should do quite well. It does not mean that you can have any old price you want, just like last year. It's not like that. We're in a more normalizing market, more leveling off, but you'll still do well. If you're buying, I know the tendency right now is for buyers to over negotiate because they're interpreting the softening of the market as deeper than it really is. And I'm watching buyers push back too much. And the sellers are just saying, I'll go back on the market. I'm going to sell it to somebody else. And, you know, when you look into the numbers, why the sellers feel like they can get away with that, it's because there's still not quite enough homes on the market. So if you're selling, I still suggest you be reasonable, because the whole reason you have a sign in front of your house is because you wanted something to happen with that address so that you could go to the next step of your life. So if you're selling and you get reasonable offers, even if they're a little bit on the low side, still play ball, because you have some life event you want to get to. And if you're buying, I guess it's the same advice, fancy that, to be moderate and get the house that you want, even if it's not quite stealing it. It's okay to not steal a house and still be happy. You still have bragging rights at the barbecue, right? You know, buyers, just think about that, because if you end up without a house and the shortage continues, then what happens? So interesting stats this time. And just have to say, the appraisals are coming in a little low now because we've had a few months of these interest rate increases, and the prices have come down enough that now those are where the appraisers are. You know, they're moderating too, and they're helping to moderate the market. So if you're buying, look at those numbers, because that's about what the sellers are expecting. And if you're selling, look at those numbers, the appraisal numbers, look at what's closed around you, because that's kind of the new price range. And I know that's not what everybody wants to hear, but it's very interesting that with a shortage of inventory, then it creates another dynamic in the market that we just have to acknowledge. So just want to remind everybody, try to be conscious of the leveling off. We're not in the hyper seller's market, but we're not in a crash by any means. So I think buyers and sellers both have to kind of rein it in a little, and just look at the numbers. at least in Jackson County, 90-day cycle. That's still pretty quick. Josephine County, you're at 120-day cycle. So that's entering into leveling off land. But still there's more buyers than sellers, just not by as much. Okay. So that's our talk for today. Give me a jingle if you want to discuss something in your real estate life. My number again is up there, 541-301-7980. Have a beautiful weekend. Hug those you love. See you next time. Bye now.